Hey y'all, I'm Lucy from paperglitterglue.com, where I make lots of 3D paper crafts and love to make things like boxes to really elevate a gift. So I made this little easy paper gingerbread house gift box. And it's what's cool about it is that one, it really is easy to construct, but two, when you're done with it, all you do, you can just like fold it up and store it so you can save it for a gift for next year, or or a display. So it's very easy to make, and so I hope you'll join me. And I've got lots of other kind of gift boxes and things like you could see the little mailboxes behind me that you can make, or I've got like a Peeps. Let me get it, like a little Peeps box that you can uh, do a gift box in. So I just have a lot of kind of fun 3D gift boxes that if you want to explore and kind of elevate your gifts, you can do that. Okay, but right now, join me for making the little gingerbread house gift box. Okay, y'all, I'm just going to show you real quick the gingerbread house gift box in Cricut Design Space. So I'm going to upload it first. I'm going to go down to this lower left-hand corner, this upload. Then I'm going to upload image, even though you can see I've got it in here a bunch of times. I'm going to go to upload image. I'm going to browse my desktop. And here it's the paper gingerbread gift box. I'm going to use the SVG files. So I'm going to use this file. And that does look like the correct file for me. So I'm going to click the green button on the lower right side, upload. Then I'm going to select it under my recent uploads, and you can tell it's selected because it's got a green line around it, a green box. I'm going to add to the canvas, and this is my design. Because I like to see the entire design when I'm working with it, I use this little toggle button down here in the lower left side, and I'm going to reduce the size on the screen. Not the scale, not the size of the box, just how it looks on the screen. And 50% scale gives me what I'm looking for. So this is my design. And now in order to do what I need to do, which is basically designate score lines, I'm going to ungroup it. This is the layers panel, and this is the ungroup icon in the layers panel. So I'm clicking it to ungroup, and it is ungrouped. So now I can do things like, this is my 1-inch scale. I do that just to make sure the design uploads in the size I want. So I'm going to delete that. I can either click the delete key on my computer, or I can use this trash can button over here in the layers panel. Let's delete it there. All right, now there are 3 pieces that have score lines. The front piece has the most, and so when you click on the entire front piece, it is grouped with the score lines. So these are my score lines in the middle, just kind of funky looking. That's the shape of the house, and these are the score lines. So I'm just going to click on the score lines. And when I do that, you can see the red box over here. That means I drew those lines in red, and the only lines I draw in red are score lines. So that's a clue that these lines are indeed score lines. We'll go to the operations menu, go down, score, and now the other thing we need to do is we need to tell our machine that this score line goes with this piece. So I'm clicking the entire piece here, and you can see that it's all in green now. And I'm going down to the bottom. Again, we're in the layers panel, and I'm going to attach. And so now Cricut knows that those specific lines go with that piece. Let's do the same thing with the back piece. Here's the back piece. I've selected it, and it shows up in green over here. Now I'm just going to select the score lines. Go over to the operations menu. You see the color box here. It's red. That means it's score lines for sure. Score. Then back over to the layers panel. Select the entire piece and then scroll down to attach. And we have two little score lines on this bonus piece. This makes the bottom of the house much sturdier, and it has two little tiny score lines. So I'm going to click on those things, go back over to the operations menu. Yep, red. Scroll down to score, score. The lines now become dash lines. I didn't mention that earlier. You can't see it here, but you can see it more on the gingerbread house pieces. I'm going to select this entire piece and attach. And that's basically what you need to do to cut out the gingerbread gift box on using Cricut Design Space. All right, the only thing in terms of making it, it's actually too big to use with a Cricut Joy. I'm trying to move my door away. You can see the size here is it's 8 inches. It's 8 inches tall and 7.79 inches wide. It can be cut out on a Joy Extra, but not on the Little Joy. It's not easy to modify it for the Little Joy. But the Joy Extra, it does indeed work. And it works on any of the other Cricut machines. All right, in terms of making it, I think I mentioned during the intro, I made it, I don't have mine turned on. I use 65-pound cardstock. It is much easier to cut out these little tiny details with 65-pound cardstock. And that is basically it. If you have any questions, you can always email me and I'll be happy to help. You can leave a comment on the post, the Gingerbread House gift box post, or you can leave a comment on this YouTube. Okay, now we'll get to construction of the house. Okay, let's start making our little gingerbread house gift box. So these are all the pieces. This is the glue I'm using. I like it because it's got a little tiny tip and it dries fast and it goes on smooth. It makes a thin layer, but it adheres fast, so I really like it. These are the background pieces. This piece supports the bottom, so when you put a gift in it, it won't fall out. It gives a lot of support to the bottom of the little gift box. I find it's, pretty important. So there are 2 pieces for the front and the back. The front piece has a little cutout, so if you want light to shine through the door, you can do that. Also, if you want light to shine through your house, I would use a thinner cardstock or thinner paper. Like you can actually use copy paper, but I would still use cardstock for the bottom support piece. So these are our backup pieces, our background pieces rather. These are the background pieces for the roof. You don't have to make it with the roof piece, but I really think it looks better if you add the decorative roof piece. I'll show you when we get to that point. And then these are the 2 side pieces. And they almost look like a square, but they're actually taller than they are wide. And so they go on with the taller vertical piece goes on the sides. So the first thing you do when you make a 3D paper craft is fold along the score lines. And I think that's especially important if you're gluing something here. I think it's easier to see when you've got it folded. So sometimes I just use my fingers and hold down the pieces. But a lot of times it helps to have a steel ruler. And you can fold along there and you'll get a sharp crease. So I'll finish folding along all the score lines, then I'll show you. The other tip I have for folding along score lines is because your machine does a depression on this side, I think it's easier to fold towards yourself first, crease it good, and then fold in the other direction. So that's just my little hint. And the only piece of the white cardstock is this bottom, the little flap. It's got two little score lines here. They're real easy to fold because you've got this cutout. All right, so now we have all of our pieces folded. So it's time to glue the background pieces. And every time I do that, I always find little doodads. I find little places where I didn't poke out the little cutout, so I found a little one here. So I get a pin and get rid of it. And I try to make sure it doesn't stick to the back. Okay, I think that's all my little doodads. So let's do the first piece. So I'm using the one with the cutout for the door. And when I have an intricate cutout on my cardstock, I always apply the glue to the cutout piece to try to minimize the glue showing through on the front. So let's see how well I can apply the glue. You see how, without really having a fancy tip, this glue really does go on easy. And it does clog a little bit in the tip, but not a lot. So it's a non-frustrating glue. So that's why I always use Barely Art glue, or lately, since I discovered it, that's the one I use. And I don't mean I discovered it. I mean, since I, decided to try it out, obviously I didn't discover it. The other thing is, by using glue, you've got a little time, like you can move it around. If you didn't center it well, you can move it around a bit. So looks like my cutout. And the cutout on the background piece is slightly larger than the door. Okay. Now I already made a mistake. The door's supposed to go on first. I guess it could go on the outside. I usually put it on the inside. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to add my glue right around this edge. Glue the door in place. See if it fits. And I did get a little glue on it. I'm going to wipe that off. Now let's put our piece back and make sure it doesn't interfere with any of these lines, with any of the lines where it has to fold. I'm going to move it up just a little bit. All right, so we got the first one. Now let's do the two side pieces. Remember, the taller side goes here. Again, making sure we don't interfere with the place it has to fold. Okay, let's look at it. Oh, that looks good. All right, next let's go ahead and do the flap. Flap really makes a difference. When I made the very first one, my sister and I made them together. She said the bottoms kind of fell out. So then you have to kind of tape it, which kind of defeats the purpose of having a little fold together box. So by adding this piece, I found that it'll hold things, not heavy stuff, but it'll hold some things easily. Now let's make sure that our cutout, let's see if you can see, I need to move it down a little bit so that our little slot for the tab works. It's not interfering with the fold, so that one's good. Now let's add the background piece to the back piece. My fold lines are good, so we've got that one done. Now the roof pieces. Same thing, you want the design to show up, so it needs a background piece. So we'll glue these together. These two pieces are exactly the same size, so you just line them up. Now we have all our pieces done. And Alley Cat decided to visit us. That's an Alley Cat rear. Okay, now we're going to glue our pieces together to actually construct the house. Now, when I make a house like this is the front, and this is the back piece. And the back piece is inset on the front piece. So what that means is, you kind of line it up like this. We'll apply glue here and adhere it to this side of the front piece of the gingerbread house, our little gift box. So line up the bottom, that should be even. And let that adhere a second. So it looks like this on the inside. Now the easiest way to glue it together, I think, is to lay it flat, because you want to be able to fold your little house if you want to store it for later. So I fold this one in, add glue to this tab. This is the back piece. And then just fold the house over, lining it up, getting glue everywhere. And there's the structure of the house. I'm going to let it dry for a second and I'll show you how it goes together. So let's, in order to put the roof on, the roof flaps, the decorative roof on the house, I put it together first. And to do that, I insert these tabs together. So this tab goes in here. It's a little bit fiddly. So this tab goes in here. And see how nice it looks already? And then fold these flaps in. And I included them because I think it helps keep stuff from falling out. So now you see how the roof goes. Just slide that tab. Okay, so see, your house is done. You don't have to add the roof pieces, but I think it looks nicer if you do. So, and I actually, these are a little bit too wide on the pattern. I narrowed it so that they'll fit better. They don't overhang because they can get like a little bit wobbly. So I made them about a 1/4 inch narrower. So apply glue. Here's your roof piece. I kind of slide it in place, and the top of the roof should go with this crease. You don't want to obscure where the tab goes, but you want it right up to it. And you also don't want the glue to glue your little tab and slot together. Make sure that the overhang is about the same in the front and back, and it is. And we'll do the same thing. We'll add the glue just up to this crease. And our little house will be done. I was just so tickled when I made the first design, and then I was really as just a regular house, and then I was like, oh man, it makes a good gift box. Now I would let it dry so you don't glue it together. So I would let these two flaps dry. And that's okay. Let me get a house that's all put together, and I'm just going to put in, some small objects that have a little bit of weight to them. These are actually some paint bottles I have. Put them in. See, it holds them. So I hope you have fun making your easy gingerbread house gift box. I think you can use it year-round, or you don't have to just save it for, say, a Christmas. I think it'd make a great little Valentine box. You could actually do some cutouts, if you wanted to add like a few little hearts on the front, maybe put some here where these doodads are. I think it's just a great little treat box. Alrighty, y'all have fun making the easy gingerbread house gift box.